as it pertains to healing, healing is not a destination. There's no expiration date. There's no timestamp. Okay, well, by this time you should be healed. You should be over it.
Can you repeat that, Joy?
Okay, healing is not a destination. It's a journey. Healing, I think that's the end all be all. But happiness and joy are two. They sound like they might be the same, but they're actually very different. Happiness is based on happenings. Happiness is circumstantial.
We're in a society, Joy, where so much is going on. Everyone's trying to find their way. People are trying to figure out what joy is, what happiness is. And there goes your mentoring program. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mentoring program? What really do you do in there? Yeah, what really happens there?
All right. Well, you asked me a bunch of questions just now, so I think I'll go to the first question, which was, how do I do that? You're glowing and things like that. How do you do? Well, it's really the Lord. I'm not trying to be cliche-ish, but that's the source of my strength. That's the source of my joy. That's the source of my peace. That's the source of my provision. That's the source of my protection. I mean, He is the source of everything in my life. And so I have to really give God all of the glory for that. I couldn't have done all that I've done. I've been on this journey the way I have been, the timing of everything, without the grace of God. So I have to give all glory and honor to Him. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, in terms of the mentoring program, there's a lot of people that want to have happiness. Happiness comes from external sources, but joy comes from within. Joy is something that is deep within yourself. No matter what the circumstances are around you, you can still have joy. Even in times of hardship, even in times of sickness, even in times of divorce, even in times of feeling lonely, you can still have joy. It is not circumstantial. It comes from the inside out, not outside in. So my program, Joy for the Journey, I really got the vision for this around a year ago. This time last year, in the fall of the pandemic. And I hired a business coach, and her name is Natalie Taylor. Shout out to my business coach. And y'all got to look her up. She's fantastic. But she helped me to put skin on the bones, if you will, of this vision that I had. I was a former pastor's wife. For those of you that don't know my story, some of your followers and your audience may not know who I am. I was a former pastor's wife of 25 years. We were married. We were together 34 years, from the age of 14 to 46. That was more than half my life, Kurline, right? We have two amazing, amazing sons, 26 and 18 now. But when I hit 46 years old, it was in the year of 20.
Hang on a second, Joy. Let me stop you. Did you just say when you hit 46?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Okay. It is still the glow for me. It is still the glow.
I didn't know what you were saying.
It is still the glow for me. I'm telling you, this joy thing is really working for you. It really is, because it is showing. And I think amongst all of the wonderful things that you're doing, I think this is the most important thing. This is what really captures me about you, because you're not just saying it. You're not just teaching it, but your whole life shows it. The glow is there. How do we say we have joy and we're always cranky? We don't understand what's going on. Your face, your countenance. I think that's important. Your countenance has to match what you're saying and what you're giving out there. And you're just a prime example of that. Keep smiling, Joy. Just
bless your heart.
I want some of that.
Hey, well, listen, I'm 4 years older now. I'm 50. I turned 50 this year. So
my goodness.
My world went boom at 46. And I just made a declaration and a vow to God and myself that I wasn't going to get stuck, Kurline. You have to, everybody faces crossroads in their life, if you will. Mm-hmm. And I faced a huge crossroad when I was, faced with the challenge and the reality that my marriage was over. And so, and the relationship of my youth, so a person doesn't get married to get divorced. So whenever, right. Boom. And then we were a ministry family as well, a ministry couple. We were pretty well known, we were with a pretty well known brand. And so we were really on the acceleration to, really do even greater things. God had really given us the opportunity to do great things, but we were on the path to do even greater. But God did not change His mind about me, even though The situation changed. God's mind did not change about me. And I want to encourage your listeners right now. God has not changed his mind about you.
There you go.
Keep on growing, going, and glowing, my loves. Okay, so joy for the journey came from that experience because I've determined not to get stuck in pain, anger, and bitterness, and unforgiveness, and the like. And so I made a vow to the Lord that I wasn't going to get stuck. And furthermore, if he got me free from that situation, I was going to help other, specifically women, to not be stuck as well. So that's where Joy for the Journey came from. 4 years later, that came 4.5 years, almost 5 years later, it came to pass. And so the beginning of 2021, January, I kicked off the year specifically helping women who are transitioning through a divorce or on the other side of divorce, but may need an extra little hand to hold them, give them some support. Maybe they're stuck in some of those things that I listed a few seconds ago. And so that's what my program is. I'm a hope dealer. You know, I want them to feel hope. I want them to be transformed, go from transformation or transition to transformation. And I want them to be healed. And so God put me on like some kind of accelerated path. I don't know why. Listen, it was whoa. Listen.
Joy, he sure did. He sure did. And it is working. And the women are receptive and people are ringing you up. And I know that it's definitely growing. I am drawn to the program because I am also a divorced young woman. And so I do understand the path. I do understand the pain. I do understand the transition to transformation. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm still in transition, but that's one of the things that I like about your program. It highlights and it accepts you where you are in your journey. So Joy, tell us, what do you think is the biggest struggle for most women who are divorced and are in transition? What's the biggest struggle? What's the biggest hurdle that they have to cross?
I think there's so many, but one of the biggest ones I will say is accepting your singleness, your state of singleness, and not getting that confused with the negative connotation of being single, like you're alone, you're incomplete. No, single means whole. If you look up the definition of single, it's whole, it's complete. You know, and I look at the word even alone. A lot of times I feel so alone. If you look at the word alone, it's really like all one. So if you think of that, you're enough. And so really getting women to change the lens, if you will, you know, how you see your situation. I do this because I'm thinking of when you go to the eye doctor and they say, okay, is lens 1 better, is lens 2? Is lens 3 better, lens 4? And really helping women to change the lens and the perspective of how they're seeing themselves and how they're seeing their situation. I want my mentees to know that they are enough, that they did not need someone to complete them. They already came complete. And if they were broken in some areas of their life, that's what they need to focus on during this season of singleness. You need to be very good and single when you go into a marriage, meaning you need to be whole. You need to be complete. You don't need to be, it's not a 50-50, it's 100-100. So you need to keep working on yourself. And this is something I also say, Kurline, as it pertains to healing. Healing is not a destination. There's no expiration date. There's no timestamp. Okay, well, by this time you should be healed. You should be over it.
Can you repeat that, Joy?
Okay, healing is not a destination. It's a journey. Healing is not a destination. It is a journey. It's an ongoing process. So it's like forgiveness. You know, you got to walk in perpetual forgiveness. And so it's just a process, and really getting the women to know, okay, this is going to be an ongoing process of your journey, but it doesn't have to mean you can't have joy throughout the entirety of your journey. Okay? And getting them to also see that even though life happened, life went boom in our lives, it's just temporary. The pain is just temporary. The financial lack is just temporary. Your living situation is just temporary. The hurt is just temporary. And if you look at it as just a temporary situation, I got chill bumps. I'm starting to preach. Okay.
I'm feeling this. I just got excited.
Yeah, it's just temporary. So I want your viewers, whoever's watching, I want you to say right now, it's just temporary. This is not a permanent situation. And this is not how your story is going to end. You have control. You and Jesus have the control to control your narrative. We are written epistles read of by men. And so God is the author of our lives, right? And so with that in mind, I want you to feel empowered. That's what I want I want women and men even who are going to probably watch this broadcast to know that you have the power to control the narrative of your story. This is not the end.
Not. Wow. Somebody's out there who's going to catch this today. Somebody, because I just felt that in my bones. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Now I really was looking forward to sitting with you, and I've drawn so much from you. And I really understand why the women is so excited about this. And the fact that it was birthed in the pandemic really says a lot, because we saw so much in the pandemic. I mean, we saw things that we've never seen before, but we saw things that were possible.
Yes.
And you saw a possibility. You didn't sit on it. You didn't keep dreaming. You didn't worry about your barriers. You went full head with this. And today, women are being blessed all over the States, all over the world.
I'm not going to tell you I wasn't scared. but like my mentor always says, do it afraid.
Do it afraid. Do it afraid. But do it anyway. Thanks for watching the Kurline Speaks show. Until then, see you in the next video. Have a good one.